In one way, time is a very established thing. When it says 11:45 and 20 seconds, that's what it is. And yet, in other ways, for us, time is not at all that greatly an established thing. Because sometimes it seems to go so much more quickly than we expect, or so much more slowly than we expect. I can remember in college one particular class where the discussion in class moved ahead of what I had been reading, what I was prepared for. And I was ready to enter into the discussion near the end of the class. But I surreptitiously looked at my watch and saw there's only 5 minutes left. And as soon as that 5 minutes are over, then the prof will call on me so he would find out that I haven't read as far as I was supposed to. Well, that was the longest 5 minutes of my life. It seemed to go on for about an hour and a half. The hands on the clock just weren't moving. On the other hand, I'm sure you and I have all at times been late for something, and at that point, time seems to be just swinging along so very quickly. Couples preparing for marriage have told me that time seems to be both too slow and too fast at the same time. Too slow because they're looking forward to living together as husband and wife, but too quickly because there's so much stuff that they have to get done before the wedding can take place, and there doesn't seem to be enough time to do it all. God's time can be even more difficult for us to understand. Jesus is talking about that in the gospel. He's saying that there are many different ways in which I will be coming to you, and you're not always going to expect it, you're not always going to be ready, but realize that you need to stay awake, as he said. You need to keep on opening up your heart to the possibilities of new life that I want to offer you. Sometimes God's time seems to fit with ours. Other times it doesn't seem to fit at all. Sometimes the hope in which we live seems to be answered. Sometimes the hope doesn't seem to be. About 2 decades ago, before I became part of this congregation, but while my family still had a place at Malibu, on Assumption Day, following the old Irish custom, we walked down into the ocean with one member of the family who had been diagnosed with lymphoma. We prayed there in the water. The next week, when he went back to the oncologist, every one of his lymph nodes were completely clear. The oncologist just couldn't understand it. He actually went back and checked past records to make sure he wasn't making a mistake somewhere. I also remember once giving someone the sacrament of the sick, anointing them, and they were cured within a week from cancer. But there have been many times that I have given the sacrament of the sick to people, and they weren't cured at all. Their disease continued to progress. We live in hope that God always responds to us, and yet we also live in the reality that response very often does not come in the way we're looking for it, does not come in the way that we would particularly want, or certainly that we would particularly expect. Isaiah tells us today to be people of hope. This Advent season is a season of hope, expectation, looking forward to the ways in which Jesus continues to come to us. And yet he himself warns us in the gospel that at times that coming is not going to be easy, is not going to be expected, is not going to be something that we want. Paul, perhaps, helps us to live with that paradox in the epistle today, where he says, be ready, be hopeful, but at the same time, as we just heard, he says to us, but keep on working along with the Spirit of God. Because amazingly, while the coming of the kingdom of God is all ultimately on God's time and by God's action, still, God involves us in bringing it about. Our own work of justice, of goodness, of love, of forgiveness, of seeking to be people of integrity, works with the Spirit in bringing about this new world. In this time of Advent, we recognize the reality of the darkness in our world and at times in our own hearts. But even as we recognize it as people of hope, hope that God is accomplishing God's purposes through us